Hey guys, this is Clinton Jeff and today we're checking out a really special sneaker. It's the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star Renew CRATER, which as you can guess from the name is a sustainably made shoe as part of Nike's Move to Zero initiative. Side note, a lot of people don't seem to actually know that Nike owns Converse, which is a thing for a while now. Well anyway, let's check these out. Alright, first up, major thanks to Converse APAC for sending me these. I've actually really wanted to check these out, so I was pretty happy to get this little surprise package. These actually dropped in North America back in July 23rd, but they only just went on shelves here in Asia. The Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star CRATER is a complete reimagining of the classic Chuck Taylor 70s silhouette, but with completely new and updated recycled materials. The entire shoe uses at least 40% recycled materials by weight. The midsole is entirely made out of Nike's CRATER foam, which is made from 12% recycled rubber. That recycled rubber comes from Nike Grind, which is made from recycled surplus manufacturing materials. Meanwhile, the upper inherits from Converse's Renew initiative and is made out of a new material called Morphlon, which combines recycled polyester with industrial textile waste scraps to create a new material that feels just like classic canvas. The Converse Renew line has always been a personal favorite of mine in the way that they use recycled materials, and it gets a nice little jumpstart thanks to Nike's Move to Zero initiative and the use of the new CRATER foam. The Converse CRATERs might not have the same hype as Nike's sustainably made Space Hippie collection when they dropped, but I really think that these are one of the most interesting takes on the Chuck Taylor 70s in a while. They come in 3 colorways right now. There's the charcoal chambray blue, which is the one that I'm checking out. Then there's the white chambray blue, which looks kind of okay. And then there's the black chambray blue, which is my personal favorite of the 3. Starting from the box, I feel like this is the first time that we're seeing the Nike branding on a Converse box. It's the same Nike Move to Zero box that you get with any of Nike's Move to Zero shoes. The only difference here is the Converse branding. I feel like this box is going to be very confusing for people that don't know that Nike owns Converse. Like imagine you head onto a store and you buy the shoe and you get a Nike box. It's weird, but I'm guessing that Nike was hoping that the branding power of their Move to Zero initiative would give some hype to the shoe. And that's why the Nike branding has been used on the box here. Coming to the shoes themselves, the first thing you notice when you take them out of the box is how crazy light they are. Usually with a pair of Chuck Taylor 70s, you expect some amount of weight, but these are just crazy light. Alright, starting with the upper, the Morphlon material feels smooth, like canvas, putting old materials to good use. As you might already know, Morphlon is a 100% recycled blend composed of 50% recycled polyester and 50% recycled post-industrial waste scraps. It actually feels and looks really great here in this chambray grayish kind of color. Like all Chuck Taylor 70s, the lateral side has a clean minimalistic look, while the medial side has the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star badge, which also seems to be made out of recycled materials. The lateral side also has these 2 ventilation holes at the bottom of the mid panel to help with breathability, with a little bit of white stitching around it to give this area a bit more structure. Moving on to the toe box area, the toe cap is one of the most iconic parts of the Chuck Taylor 70s, and the reinterpretation here is a little weird, admittedly. They've given the toe cap an unfinished kind of look which you'll either love or hate, but instead of the usual rubber, the material used on the toe cap, which is also the material used on the eye stays, is 85% recycled, which is awesome. Moving upwards, you'll see that the eye stays also have this textile overlay in a unique unfinished rough design to them, almost seemingly broken up into 3 sections by this orange stitching. This is very different from the usual minimalistic metal eye stays that you'd see on a usual pair of Chuck Taylor All-Stars. In addition, the webbing and stitching you see around here is all 100% recycled as well. And apart from that, you'll see these charcoal colored flat laces weaving through the eye stays. Underneath the laces, there's the tongue, which is made from the same recycled canvas material as the rest of the upper, with this white pull tab nylon piece on top that has the Converse logo branding in different orientations and 2020 stitched on. This pull tab fabric seems a little unnecessary to me, but I'm not sure if it's here just for aesthetic reasons or whether it was really necessary to hold the laces in place. Coming to the inside of the shoe, there's a 100% recycled dark grey mesh sock liner with a neon green cushioned Outsole insole that is 20% recycled and looks very similar to the one on the Nike Space Hippies. Apart from that, coming to the back of the shoe, you have this orange stitching that is done throughout the back that I think is supposed to look like a heel cup. There's a tiny bit of reinforced materials here as well. So this section is a little stiff to ensure that there's no heel slippage. At the back of the shoe, you'll see more of that white stitching that runs up the sneaker towards the white pull tab on the heel that has black stitching. That entire upper sits on a full-length Nike CRATER foam midsole that is shaped to look exactly like the midsole on a pair of Chuck Taylor highs. We've seen CRATER foam used on several of Nike's sustainable series of shoes, from the Space Hippies to the Jordan CRATER, the Air Jordan 1 High CRATER, the VaporMax 2020, and even the more recent Air Force 1 CRATERs. Nike's CRATER foam basically uses about 12% Nike grind rubber for a lightweight and responsive cushioning, and Nike grind materials are created from recycled athletic footwear and surplus manufacturing scraps. So basically they're taking all of these leftover materials from outsoles and midsoles in the manufacturing process, they grind them all up together and create the Nike grind rubber that is used in the CRATER foam in the midsole and the outsole. A fun little bonus of this process is that no two midsoles will ever be the same because of the sheer amount of different recycled materials used, with all of these speckles of different materials. But what I love about the implementation here is that instead of the vulcanized rubber midsole that you'd see on a usual pair of Chuck Taylor All-Stars, you have this one-piece CRATER foam that is shaped exactly like the midsole on a standard pair of Chucks. Even moving downwards towards the outsole, the tread pattern on the outsole is exactly the same as the standard pair of Chucks, with the Converse All-Star branding as well. It's just so awesome and well done. But that all being said, the main advantage here is that instead of the usual flat kind of feeling you get from a standard pair of All-Stars, with the All-Star CRATERs you have a really lightweight pair of shoes that also feels a lot more flexible, plush and responsive compared to the flat, stiff cushioning that you get from a normal pair of All-Stars. Granted, it's not Nike React or Adidas Boost levels of cushioning, but it's still much better than a standard pair of Chucks, which makes these probably the most comfortable pair of Chuck Taylor All-Stars that you'd ever wear. Which was a fun surprise because I didn't really expect too much from the shoe. Alright guys, that's about it for design. Coming to sizing and fit, these fit just like any other pair of Chuck Taylor All-Star highs. All-Star highs generally tend to fit a little large, so you'd want to go down a half size for sure. For example, I'm a UK 11, but I generally go down to a size UK 10.5 for All-Star highs. Of course, the best way to know for sure is to head on over to a store and try out a pair. All in all, I think Converse has actually done a really great job with the All-Star CRATERs. As a huge Converse fan from a purist point of view, I will admit that there's a few things I wish they did not do here. The orange stitching on the back, for example, to simulate a heel cup is a little bit out there. Maybe if they used a more subtle muted color or just left that area alone, it would have been a much cleaner looking shoe. I'm also not a fan of all the orange stitching used around, so it's mostly just the color choices maybe, but I get that they were going for a more unfinished look here. But purely from a comfort point of view, you guys have to check out this shoe. Especially if you're a fan of the Chuck Taylor All-Star highs and you want a more comfortable version, this is where it's at. It's actually quite impressive how Converse and Nike made such a lightweight shoe here. With the soft recycled materials used and the soft CRATER foam, it's just way more comfortable to wear than a standard pair. I just wish that they made a more purist version, but that's just me. I also feel like a low top version of these shoes would be crazy popular. Here in Asia, these do seem to be sitting in stores, so if you want to know what I'm talking about, just head on over to a Converse store to try out a pair and let me know what you think about them. Alright guys, we're all out of the way, let's take a look at the Converse All-Star CRATERs on feet. At the end of the day, the All-Star CRATERs are Converse's most sustainable shoe ever. They are literally reducing the carbon footprint of footwear manufacturing. I'm really hoping these shoes catch on. Maybe if Converse makes a more purist looking version, because that might catch on really well and more people switching to that shoe instead of the standard All-Stars which almost everyone has. Now that might actually make a huge impact for sustainable footwear. Alright guys, so that's what I think about the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star CRATERs. I'd love to know what you guys think about these, or if you're thinking about picking up a pair. Let me know right in the comment section below. And as always, if you want to see more photos of the shoe, you can head on over to my Instagram and maybe give me a follow at ClintonJeff. And hey, if this video was helpful to you and you want to support the channel, don't forget to hit the like button right below and maybe subscribe because that would be appreciated. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.